Everyone, Henry from Smoky Hills Outdoor Store in Park Rapids and GoIceFish.com. And I want to take some time today to talk about all the audio and video inputs and outputs, the DVDs, the antennas, satellite systems, a lot of different entertainment options that Ice Castle Fish Houses offer. And you might have some cool features in your house that you're not currently using. So I want to kind of take my time and walk through them all step by step. Start with some of the more basic stuff and then get into what's new and some of the different custom options that you can do. Now, we're going to be looking mostly at the new 2018 models. The guys and gals at Ice Castle has changed up some stuff, including doing surround sound, DVD players, a lot of different cool things. And I just want to take the time to walk through all of them and start in this house. And what we're going to do is we're going to start and show you what's pretty much become standard inputs and outputs in all 2018 Ice Castles. Now, yours might differ a little bit if you have more stuff, but this is going to be your basic layout. You're going to have 4 plates, and I'm going to start with the first one right here, and that's going to be the powered antenna, or some people would call it an HD antenna from King Controls. It's a very popular piece of equipment, and I'm going to walk through how to use one of those real quick. So, first thing I want to notice is there's a coax connector, and then there's a little power button. I'm going to hit that guy, and as soon as I hit that, you're going to notice that my power antenna turns on. Now, you want to make sure that the switch on the side is also on. Some people forget to turn that switch on, and then they wonder why it's not working. So leave this switch on and power the antenna from the little button with the green light. So you're going to notice we're going to leave this turned up because we want to max out our power. And you're going to notice there's some blue lights, and then there's this knob which I can press on the side, and when I do this, it's going to give me more or less blue lights. Ideally, I want to find as many blue lights as possible because that's going to give me my strongest signal. So once I turn this around, I see, well, that looks like about my best bet right there. I'm going to leave that. I'm going to go back up here, and I'm going to connect my coax cable right there. I'm going to run this into the back of my TV. Go to your TV settings, go to menu, and they're all going to be different, and search for find channels. And what it's going to do, it's going to start running through it. Use the antenna to find channels. It's going to run through channels. It's going to look for analog channels, and it's going to look for digital channels. Ideally, you want to find as many digital as possible because you're going to get better picture quality on them. And once that gets through, it'll save your channel. So it works really well. Now, if you do go to a different location, let's say you drive up 2 hours to go to Lake of the Woods, you probably want to rescan to see if you can find more channels. But absolutely the easiest and the most cost-efficient way. There's no subscription with this. It's really easy to do, and it works very well. It's a good product from King. And then I think let's move on to the next item. Okay, so let's move on to the DVD radio. So what we have here is a Jensen, and Ice Castle started using these about maybe 6 months to a year ago. We've had very good luck with these. Nice thing about this specific radio, first and foremost, it has a built-in DVD player. It also has built-in Bluetooth, which is really nice, seeing as you can connect your phone to it. And it's also app ready, which means there's certain applications you can run through this through your smartphone when using a USB connector. But what I want to talk about on this, before I get to anything, is how to play a DVD and connect it to your TV. It's quite simple. Ice Castle will have the HDMI. Now, it might be labeled DVD radio in your house, but if you have an HDMI like this, with 2 RCAs next to them, and we'll talk about those in a second, this is how you're going to get output to your TV. Quite simple. Take any HDMI cable, make sure your HDMI cable is working, because there's some bad ones out there. Connect this into your HDMI port, from your HDMI port, back into your TV. Couldn't be simpler. Go to your TV and set your TV to the correct HDMI input that you put it in, which is usually HDMI 1, that most people connect it to, and play your DVD. Now, at this point, your DVD radio is automatically going to output its audio to the speakers that's in the house. Your house will have 4 speakers. Some people might have more, but it's going to output to the 4 speakers that you have in your house, which is really simple. So playing a DVD could not be easier. So what everybody asks me is why do I have 2 RCA ports right here? And these are actually RCA inputs that go back to the radio. So why do I need 2 audio? This is left and a right channel. Why do I need 2 audio outputs going back to the radio? Well, quite simply, let's say you have a smart TV and you want to play Netflix on your smart TV. What's going to happen is you're going to play Netflix on your smart TV and the audio is only going to come out on the speakers of the TV, not the radio. So what we want to do is we want to output the audio out of your TV through these RCAs, or whichever way we can make it happen, back into the radio, and then that will output your audio. Now, just to be clear, you only want to do this if you're running something like Netflix on your TV because it's not connected to the DVD radio, or if you have TV going through your HD antenna or powered antenna, because once again, it's not going through your radio. If you're playing a DVD, you already have it. So what is the simplest way to do that? Well, it's kind of a difficult answer because it really depends on your TV. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into a house that has a TV with 2 different audio outputs, and I can show you how to get these RCAs to come out and go to your DVD radio so you can have surround sound. Okay, so we talked about connecting surround sound back to your DVD player, and we went to a different house just because I have a TV in here already and I can show you some different outputs that the TV has. So let's start in the back here. And if you remember this port, this is the same as what we had on the other house. It might look a little bit different, but we have an HDMI that goes to our radio, and then we have 2 RCAs that go back to the radio. And what we want to try and accomplish here to get audio from the TV to the DVD radio is to have an audio output. Every TV is going to be different. And what we do see very commonly is this new optical output. The one that's kind of glowing red back there. It's a digital audio output, and it's going to be this one right here. That is a newer style connector. I should say newer on TVs. It's been around for a long time. And that's going to be the little bit more complicated one. The other audio output's going to be this guy right here. And you see how it specifically says audio out. Just because you have a round port, this is the regular headphone jack you would find like in the bottom of your phone. Just because it looks like this doesn't mean it's an output. It has to say audio out. So let's start with the simplest way. We connect the audio output, so we plug in one side of our cables, just a regular headphone plug-in like you'd find on the back of your phone. That plugs in there. And then the other side of that is going to be 2 RCAs right here. And that goes into our plug-ins right there. So that couldn't be simpler. We put our 2 RCAs in there. And the other side, unfortunately, I don't have the right cable. The other side of this cable is going to go into the audio out right there. Simply, then your TV might have a setting to ask for it to send out the audio, but that's going to be the easiest way to do it. Now, I have found, unfortunately, that not a lot of TVs do have the standard audio output anymore. A lot of them are going to that digital output. And I'll show you how to do that. It's actually quite simple if you have the right equipment. So I'm going to put these back here. And this is where this guy comes in. This is a little box that's going to change our our optical output into a standard RCA, so we can run the audio back there. So if you only have the audio in a digital output on your TV, we're going to use this. So how does it work? Very simple. So now I want to plug in one of these cables. This is an optical cable. It's also called a TOS link, and this is where you're going to find that red little optical output. I'm going to take this cable that came with this box that I'm going to use. I'm going to plug that in there, and you can see now I have this cable active, because you probably only have one of those. Simply put, I'm going to take this little box and I'm going to convert this from a TOS link to an RCA. This does need power, but you can power this with a small USB cable and plug it into the back, which it does come with. All I have to do now, very easy to do, I have my cable into my converter box. My two RCA cables are going to go into the back there. So now, if I'm running Netflix on my TV, my audio is going to output to my DVD radio. This little box, we do sell these on goicefish.com. They work really well. We've had good luck with them. It's probably the easiest way to run, an optical out to an RCA. It's not very common to put optical cables in walls. That's why they don't run it directly to it. If anybody's wondering why they don't just run an optical cable. Optical cables aren't super sturdy and heavy duty. So short applications like this probably works best for them. So that is running the optical out on your TV to the DVD, so I can have surround sound for my Netflix or my digital antenna. Let's move on to the next thing. Okay, so we're down to the last plate now, and that is going to be the plate that usually says Tailgater on it. And really there's two things happening here. The top one is a 12 volt plug-in. Think a 12 volt plug-in like a cigarette lighter plug-in in your vehicle. That's all that is. And all of the newer Tailgaters or carryouts or any of the satellites do not require that 12 volts. So that's kind of a little confusing, but it does not require that anymore. It does require power, but it gets powered a different way. So what you're left with is this coax. Now, depending on your house, if your house already has a satellite installed at the factory or from Smoky Hills on the roof, this is going to be the connector that you want to use. So if it's not installed on the roof, you're going to go outside and you're going to look for your connection. And this one happens to be right in the front here. So realistically, all that is, it's a coax cable that runs through the wall and it comes out here. So if I'm going to use my portable satellite like my Tailgater from King Controls, I'm going to put my Tailgater down here, run my coax into this connection right here, then go back inside. And that coax cable is going to go into the back of my receiver, which is either a Wally or if you have DirecTV, a different receiver. And we're going to do a whole video on that because I want to take time on the satellites. I'll get one of the satellite companies out here to really explain all the differences, just because there's a lot of different things going on there. I also want to talk a little bit about some of the HDMI splitters. We'll do a video on that. We have an HDMI splitter, which a lot of people are having trouble with, how to split to two TVs. We actually just set one up in this fish house and it worked great. So we're going to do more with that. If you have questions, why not comment on this video? We love making videos. We love playing with the fish houses, so we can do something that helps people. There's a lot of different things that go on in these fish houses, and we want to make it as simple as possible. So as always, thank you very much for watching. Look for some of the products on goicefish.com and like our YouTube channel. We appreciate you watching. Thanks again.